Hello one and all, my name is Ryan Bruce, my friends call me Fluff, and today on Riffs, Beards, and Gear, we're going to be checking out two new pedals from Warm Audio. Warm Audio has recently been killing it with their ever-expanding pedal line, and today we are going to check out two new additions to that pedal line, the Warm Bender and the RingerBringer from Warm Audio. Now, before we go any further, this is a sponsored video. Warm Audio asked me to show you guys these awesome pedals. All thoughts and opinions are still mine. So if you are into fuzz pedals of any kind, seeing the Warm Bender enclosure, you will instantly know that this is a germanium style 60s flavored fuzz. This is not a big muff. This is more Keith Richards. This is more Jeff Beck. This is more Jimmy Page, Brian May, etc., etc. The list goes on and on of famous users of this style of circuit. However, Warm have thrown three different flavors of said circuit into one housing for the Warm Bender. It even has an adorable little sag switch, which I actually find really usable. For those of you who are craving a little bit more of the weirder side of guitar tones, or synth tones for that matter, Warm has also released the RingerBringer, which is based on the 90s Moogerfooger pedals. This is a ring modulator. This thing gets absolutely nuts. If you want to get your Mars Volta on, your John Frusciante, amongst many other users, or if you just want to create your own tones that have never been done before, you can do it with the RingerBringer. Let's hear these in the context of a mix. So the Warm Bender is a selectable 3-circuit tone bender style fuzz pedal that actually uses new old stock germanium transistors. I find that to be generally the thing that makes a vintage fuzz pedal really, really nice. If you are looking for anything vintage, you are making sure it has the germanium transistors. This has the new old stock boys, actual vintage transistors made of germanium inside of it. Super, super awesome. Now the RingerBringer is a 100% analog ring modulation pedal with LFO, modulation, frequency, and rate controls. This thing is gonna give you a recreation of all sorts of basically just experimental tones. This isn't for the faint of heart. You can get really, really out of control really fast with this pedal. However, there's a lot of flavors of ice cream in this pedal. So something that I find really cool about the RingerBringer is the amount of I/O and options on the back panel. Now, of course, there's 1/4-inch guitar inputs and outputs. However, there are enough inputs and outputs to use this with just about any outboard gear, whether that is a modular synth setup or a keyboard setup, or literally anything that you can think of that you'd want to use a ring modulator for, you can use with this pedal. I like that they didn't make it just a guitar-centric pedal, right? It's much more than that. Now, like I mentioned earlier, the Warm Bender has 3 different circuits built in to its housing. So silicone, you can get pretty punchy fuzz tones. With the new old stock 75 setting, you're gonna cut through the mix. You're gonna get a lot of mids. And then for the new old stock 76, you're gonna tone that down a little bit. You're going to get some nice, fat, thick, less gained out fuzz, more controllable fuzz, which is pretty good for stuff like single coil guitars. And then in addition to that, you have a sag feature, which is gonna change the feel and basically simulate a dying 9-volt battery, which is what a lot of folks like to use in their fuzz circuits at that time. Namely, Duane Allman comes to mind. Okay, so I have my American Ultra Jazz Master plugged into the warm bender and the RingerBringer. I'm going into the clean channel of my Soldano SLO 100. Here's what we're working with. Pretty clean, it's twangy, it's real clean as I like with my fuzz tones. So let's just twist some knobs. Let's go into the fuzz first. I like that the silicone is less top-endy, because a guitar like this is quite top-endy as it is, and I don't need any more top-endiness. I like the silicone right off the bat, although I do like the new old stock 75, the NOS 75. The NOS 75 is almost muff-like. Pretty cool. I like how thick it is. Let's try backing off the fuzz a little bit. I really like that, the backed off NOS 75. As an added benefit, there is a sag switch next to the output jack. Let's turn that off and on. I actually like that quite a bit. It softens the attack. It feels different. It's less of a noise thing, although less of a tone thing, although the volume changes, obviously, but it feels different. This is to simulate a dying 9-volt battery, which, like, guys like Dwayne Allman would source out dying 9 volts and put them in his fuzz pedals as well. Let's move on to the RingerBringer. RingerBringer gets pretty weird. And that's the point. Bass tone. Aliens, where's Tom DeLonge? That is the RingerBringer. These pedals are a lot of fun. I obviously gravitate towards the fuzz more, although my synth buddies are going to be very, very happy about the RingerBringer. Cool pedals from Warm. Yeah, a lot of fun. So what do I think? Admittedly, the RingerBringer is not in my wheelhouse as far as pedals that I would gravitate towards or even have any playing history with. It is fun to kind of see just what you can do with this sort of pedal, but this isn't something I have ever played before in any incarnation. So this was very entertaining. I laughed to myself trying to come up with all sorts of sounds, and I just had a good time playing it. However, the Warm Bender is great for main rhythm tones, overdubs, leads, things like that. I find this pedal to be much more usable than other 60s flavored germanium fuzzes, because typically when I go for a fuzz, I like a thicker, more gained out pedal, and this can do that tone plus any other fuzz tone that I may desire. I will link down below in the description, and while you're there, if you feel like supporting this channel, give me a subscribe. And with that, you have been wonderful. I've been Fluff. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.